Yes. Uh, Hello, guys. Here we are once again for the Laravel Eloquent ORM presentation. So today I'm going to discuss about the CRUD operation. Mostly, it will be about the CRUD operation of the records from the database using Eloquent. So first of all, let's go for the retrieving models. So here, once we have created the model, uh, then we'll be ready to like fetch the data from the database and do everything like CRUD operation. And uh, for each eloquent model, we can say that every eloquent model is a powerful query builder, which will allow us to query into the database very fluently and efficiently. All right. So if you see here, this code can be written in controller or any repository wherever you want. So if you'll see here, the flights app flight is the model, and we are getting using the all method here. So it will retrieve all the data from the flights database, sorry, flights table, which has mapped to flight model. All right, guys. So and after like looping through the as records, we can get the print the flight name over here. So it's simple, it's not too much complicated. So using, if you use all, it will retrieve all of the data in the flights table. All right. So here there are some additional constraints also that we can use in order to retrieve the records, having like giving some constraints like here if you'll see, uh, is and here in order to retrieve those data without by using constraint, we will use the get method. All right. So here if you'll see, we have used app flight where active equals to 1. So there is a column in the table which is named active. All right. So it will fetch the data whose active column, whose value of active column is 1, and along with that it will order the name uh, column. It will order the retrieved data on the basis of name in descending order, and that take is for getting the number of records. Whatever number you'll put over there, it will get that number of records. So if you don't use that take method, it will and just use get, then it will just use fetch all of the records whose active status is 1, and it will order all of them by descending order. All right, guys. So here we have one more attribute of retrieving models, that is refresh. All right. Here we can refresh the models using fresh and refresh methods. So if you talk about fresh method, it will just retrieve the model from the database. Like if you'll see here in the example, uh, first in the first line you are seeing that it is getting the user records, and it is fetching the first record from that table. So uh, here if you'll print the name, then let's say it is printing John, and let's say if another user or another person has updated that particular record, all right, in the user table, and then if you use user phrase and then assign it to updated user variable, then it will print to the different name, like Peter. Like let's say you have one user table, all right, and there are the first record you are fetching is of John, and at the same instant the other user has inserted another user whose name is Peter. All right. So in order to get that, if you use the phrase method at that instance only, then it will get the new user. Are you getting me, guys? Here. So yeah, the phrase method will uh, work in this way, and there is one another refresh. Right. So what it will do is it will rehydrate the existing model. Like here, if you are seeing, like if you are getting the first record over here and it is named as John, if you let's say if you want to refresh that particular model in here in face method, you are using the another variable updated user. All right, but here you are using the same uh, variable user and you are refreshing that. And if you are refreshing that and at that same instance another user is inserted, it will just refresh the first data and then print the Peter name over here. All right, so here let's talk about collection. As I've already said, there are for retrieving multiple data we can use all and get, and I have also differentiated in which scenario we are getting here all for retrieving all the uh, data of records from the database. We will be using all, and if we are using any constraints, then we will be using get method, and both of them will uh, face the number of records, not only one records but the number of records. All right, so here the collection and whatever data that is being through, given by the Eloquent, it will be in the collection class. All right, it will return it as a collection, and what it provides is it provides various number of methods that we can use at the very instant. Like if we are retrieving flights, all right, and let's say that flights contains the number of records using all or get, and we can use the reject method to reject the number of records where this value of particular flight is cancelled. Cancel is initiated. Like there, let's say there is cancelled um column in the table, and whichever value is set as one in the cancel column, it will reject. So at the very instance only we can manipulate the flights data and return the our expected results over here. So in the same way, we may also loop over the collections like an array. If we can directly send this collection into the view in the blade file, and then in the blade file itself, like generally what we loop array for we use for each for array normally, but for collection also we can use it in the same way as we will be we are doing in the array, right? So this is the advantage of using collection, but not only this, there are lots of more methods that we can use for collections. You can see over there those things in the documentation. There are lots of examples, so you can search also over the internet. So there are lots of helpful methods in the say documentation. Now let's talk about chunking the results. So chunk is used for the large number of records. All right, and this method will retrieve the chunk of eloquent models and feed them to a given closure for processing. Closure simply means the function over here. So using chunk method, it will conserve the memory when we are working with the large number of data. So here, if you'll see, flight chunk 200, and then there is the closure function over there, and it's looping through that. Uh, let's say the all of the records. So here if you see the first argument is the number of records that is fetched at once, uh, and then the second parameter is closure. Okay, and the second argument will be called for each chunk, and that will be retrieved, and that will be retrieved from the database. And here uh, the database query will be executed to retrieve each chunk of records passed to the closer. Here you can see the best example. Uh, See here in the first method, chunk is being used, and in second, the normal process that we are using it's used. So in the second, if you'll see, we are retrieving data from the users all and then looping through them, and then again updating the value, getting some value from using some condition, and then updating some value. The second process is fine for 100 or 200 or even 500 records. But what if we have thousands of records, like 1,000 or 5,000? This will not uh, work appropriately in that case. In that case, we have to use the chunk method, and I have provided a link also over here to you guys. And I'll be sharing this presentation with you also. So, and that will direct you over here. Process big DB tables with chunk method. So here if you'll see, it's fine for DB data tables for 100 or 500 users, but what about 1,000 or millions? So it's not only about the speed, it also about storing the data. We are potentially storing the whole database into the variables. So here, if you are seeing uh, in users, we are, if there are thousands of records or millions of records, we'll be storing those thousand records in the variables only. And in that case, we might run out of memory. So here, if you use chunk, then what it will do, each time this chunk will retrieve 100 data and process those data and update over here, update those user data. So this is very one of the very useful implementation of the chunk. So you can look over here in the documentation and you can get a clear idea about the chunk. And and now let's talk about the retrieving single. Before I was talking about the collection or retrieving a number of records at once. Now let's talk about the retrieving the single method. So we can use find or first to get the single data. And you see over here in the first example, you can see I have flight find one. So that find one is the primary key, and whatever the primary key we are entering over there, giving over there, it will get the data of that primary ID, the record of that primary ID, and we can use constant also, like where active is one, whichever flight has activity status one, uh, it will give you the first row of the data from the table. All right. So, and in the same way, if you can use the array also using find. So if you see in the third example, you can see the array given to the find function. So if you see there 1 2 3, and this what this method will do is it will return the data which has 1 2 and 3 ID in a collection, in an array format or the collection format. All right. So this is the use of we can use here for retrieving single models, and we can use the not found exception also, and this is also one of the very useful method, find or fail or first or fail. Like if it fails to find those data, it will simply return a 404 HTTP response by default, and then it will just return that no data found, and it return the 404 response over here. So retrieving aggregates. So if you see here, we can also use count, sum, or max, and there are lots of other aggregate method also. If you see in the documentation, you can find it over there, and it is provided by the Laravel itself. Like if you see here in the example, in the first example, you can see the whatever the like the records whose active status is one, it will, and then you are seeing there there is count method over there. So what this will do is it will just return the count of that records whose active status is one, flight table. All right. So that is one of the aggregates, and another you can see the max price. So there is a column, if there is a column price in the table, and it will return the here in the second query, what it will return, it will return the uh, that particular row whose active status is one and whose price is maximum. So this will return only one row over here. All right, whose price is maximum and whose active status is one over here. So now let's go to the insert. Here you can see if we want to insert the data into the database, simply we can we have to instantiate the that particular model, and then set the attribute or value of that model, and then just call the save method. If you see over here in the controller, uh, all of the things are the same as it is in the default controller. Here we are there is one more thing. We have been calling the app flight model. We are using calling the app flight model using use method over here, and then uh, for storing we are just instantiating. We are calling that flight model, and then assigning the name to that flight uh, from the whatever request that is being sent from the post method, and then we are just giving the save method. Okay, so if we'll do like this, then also it will save, insert the data into the database. It is one of the method, but there are lots of method to say insert data into the database. So we'll see here that example. The name parameter is just this is just the description of that this process what is running over here. So here there's one more thing. The created and updated if there are those values, and if you haven't set that to false, timestamp to false, then created and updated stamps will be automatically set to the uh, that particular table with the current date and time. All right. So we don't have to worry about created and updated at. It will be filled automatically. Now let's talk about this update method. So here update method is also the same as this insert method, but here first of all we are getting the object of that particular row or the flight model. Like here if you'll see in the first line of the example, it is retrieving the data whose ID is 1, and the flight is the object of that uh, flight model, the class, and then here we are reassigning the flight name to the new flight name and just saving it. This will update the data into the record whose ID is 1. So this is one of the method of updating the data into the database. Now let's talk about the deleting. So for deleting, uh, we can simply call the delete method uh, after getting the model. This is one of the method. Like if you see flight app flight find one, this will just uh, get the record of the flight model which ID is 1, and then if you use flight delete, then it will just delete that record. All right. And here and below you can see the deleting an existing model by key. If you have the primary key of any row or the model, then you can just delete it by these four methods, whichever you want you can use. If you want, then you can provide just one ID, and if you want to delete multiple records at once, you can use the second or third mode sorry, the third uh, or fourth, whichever you want. You can just use this uh, method, and then you can delete the models or the row. And let's talk about the soft deleting here. And there is one more method, deleting models by query. It's the same thing. Here we are just fetching the records whose active status is 0, and then deleting them. This is one of the method also. This is by using the constraints also. And let's talk about the soft deleting. And here Laravel provides us the soft delete approach over here. And to enable soft delete, we have to call this thread uh, into the models. So if you'll see here in the example, this is the example of the model, and you are here we are using the soft delete. We are calling the soft deletes using use method, and then that using that soft deletes in the inside the class. So if you see, by instance doing this only, you can use the soft deletes, right? And for soft deleting, we should also have the deleted at column into the database table, and you can just like alter your schema in this way in the migration file, and then just run migrate, then it will add this deleted at into the that particular table. So when we are calling the delete method on the model, deleted at column will be set to the current date and time. So when we are using this destroy method, then it will just set the deleted at column, and it means that that particular row has been deleted. And whenever we query the model, uh, and that model, if that model is using soft delete, it will exclude that row whose deleted at column is set, that is to the any timestamp. If it is set, the deleted at column is set, it will exclude those values. It means that it is already deleted. So this is the basics crude operation in the models, uh, that eloquent models that we can use. So yeah, thank you guys for this, and tomorrow we will talk further more about these crude operations, and we will be discussing about aggregates and then mass assignment, everything tomorrow. And if possible, we can also discuss about relationship also. So yeah, this much guys.